Hello, welcome to the Glasstire Top 5. It's the week of September 14th, 2017. I'm Rainey Knudson.
And I'm Brandon Zech.
We're counting down the top 5 art events in Texas this week.
And it's not just Harvey Zones or non-Harvey Zones. This week we're getting back to normal.
It's the whole kit and caboodle. Let's go.
So number 5 this week is 2 shows of Chuck Ramirez. So we included these 2 shows as the top pick of our fall preview, but they're opening in San Antonio and we would be remiss not to mention them again. Chuck Ramirez was a really important figure in the San Antonio art scene. He was a photographer, but more than that, he kind of almost held the San Antonio art scene together in a way.
He was one of the people who definitely did, and he was a centrifugal force of parties and happenings and people, and was a wonderful person. He died unexpectedly in 2010, and this is a tribute to his life that's happening throughout the city, so it's going to be great.
There's a big show at the McNay, and then there's a smaller show at Ruth Healy, who kind of is controlling his archive, and this is the big thing happening in San Antonio, and you should go see these photographs. Number 4 this week is a program of Gordon Matta-Clark films at Aurora Picture Show in Houston. The program is on Saturday. It was put together, curated by Peter Lucas, who works for Aurora and is also one of our writers. Mm-hmm. And all of these films are documenting Gordon Matta-Clark's large-scale, site-specific building sculptures. So he would take these buildings that were about to be demolished and he would cut holes in them and kind of manipulate them and give them odd windows and skylights.
Scoop out the interior.
And the artwork itself was destroyed, so these films were kind of left as the remnants or as the documentation of those works.
Number 3 is a trio of shows at the Old Jail Arts Center. Bill Bomar is kind of the big E. He's Texas modernist who died in 91, is that right? 91?
He was actually one of the founders, or one of the co-founders of the Old Jail Art Center, so it's almost kind of like a homecoming for some of his work. And then the other shows, there's Ronald Watson, who was a longtime professor at TCU in Fort Worth. He was actually, I think, the first director of that art program, but he retired early 2000s about some really great wall sculptures that kind of play with light and optics and cast shadows. And then also works in the Cell series in the upstairs jail cells by Kelly O'Connor, San Antonio artist and collage extraordinaire.
Collagist extraordinaire, yeah. Number 2 is the annual Mitchell Artist Lecture at the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Center at the University of Houston. I think it's next Tuesday. And this year it's the Yes Men. So if you don't know the Yes Men, go hear them give a lecture about their work. They are 2 guys who do satirical performance art pieces where they're very pointed, very political, and they tend to impersonate people and do these projects that are outrageous, but people believe that they are who they are. So they have pretended to be representatives of the NRA. They have pretended to be representatives of corporations that deny climate change. They have pretended to be lobbyists, all sorts of things. They come out with press releases. They get articles in actual media organizations.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really fun lecture Tuesday night at the Mitchell Center.
Do you think they're actually going to lecture? Is their lecture going to be a
We don't know. Will they do a performance or will they just do a straight lecture? Only attendees will know. And number 1 is Tom Sachs at the Nasher Sculpture Center. It's his tea ceremony show. This was at the Noguchi last year, and it's essentially the same show, I think. It's a tea house, Japanese tea service accoutrement, all the little dippers and things made by Tom Sachs.
Made by Tom Sachs. So they're a little rough, but they're perfect odd objects also.
Fussy yet crummy, I think, would be the best description of a Tom Sachs object.
Yeah,
he himself will be there this week performing the tea ceremony. And the show is described as a complete alternative material culture of teas. So it's the Japanese tea ceremony, but an alternative version of it. In an interview at the New York Times, Tom Sachs himself said, "There comes a time in every middle-aged Jewish man's life when he realizes that Japan is where it's at." So apparently he's come to that time. It's going to be a great show. It's up all fall at the Nasher Sculpture Center. Don't miss it. Tom Sachs, one of the best right now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do this weekend?
There's been a lot of openings, so I'm going to go see some art.
I want to go see some art too, and so should you.